A few weeks ago, I posted a video called How to Find Airbnbs that net 50K for under 500,000. I got a ton of comments about it, like it's not possible in 2025, or your property was an anomaly. Pretty much what I expect those who don't know how to find these types of deals to say, so I figured I would walk you through one of my favorite deals that I've ever done, and how I turned a $350,000 property into a $70,000 net cash flowing property per year without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on design, decor, and amenities. And that's 70K net, not gross. So if you're wondering whether STRs are still worth it in 2025, or if it's even possible to get the results like the one I'm going to break down for you without breaking the bank on $1 million luxury cabin, then this video is for you. We're gonna break down how I found the deal, why the market was wide open, what I did to stand out, and how smart pricing strategies played a massive role in the property's success. Let's dive in. Step number one, finding the right market. So back in 2022, when I bought my property, interest rates were actually already climbing pretty high. People were freaking out and STR investing was shifting big time. Most investors were still focused on the same overhyped markets like Scottsdale, Gatlinburg, Joshua Tree, you know the ones. But I wasn't. And I wasn't interested in playing in that game. I wanted something overlooked, something where the data said, hey, this market has potential, but no one's paying attention to it yet. That's where STR Insights software came in. I pulled the numbers, filtered for affordability, high occupancy, and low listing saturation, and that led me to a small New York town located on a lake called Watkins Glen. It's not the first place most people think of when they hear Airbnb gold mine, but here's what made it stand out. So number one, it had a strong seasonal tourism market. There were wine trails, waterfalls, a famous racetrack, and it's a lake market. It had low competition in the STR space as well. And best of all, the town had capped the number of legal STRs, means limited supply, built in scarcity, but I could still get into the market. So I locked in a single family home for $350,000, fully legal, right in the heart of town, overlooking the lake. Step number two, I zeroed in on the gaps in the market. Now here's the wild part about the whole thing. Almost no one in that lake market, it's a lake market, remember, had a hot tub. And I'm not just saying that, I actually pulled comps in 0 hot tubs. No amenities that made the listing stand out. The photos were all bad, the design was all outdated. No one was using dynamic pricing. It was like 2017 Airbnb vibes. So I knew right away I didn't have to reinvent the wheel, I just needed to execute better than everyone else. That simply meant professional staging and designing the space, hiring a great photographer, adding thoughtful touches that guests actually care about, like blackout curtains, sound machines, and good coffee setups. And yes, installing that hot tub. Just by doing that, I instantly positioned myself as one of the top tier listings in the entire area. I want to point out that even today, there are still markets with properties like these all around the country. The problem is that the data won't jump out at you because the overall quality of the properties in that market. The data in Watkins Glen was good, but not great with the current property. So therein lies the risk of these types of deals. You're not going to find a ton of comparable high-performing properties in the area, but that's okay. If the market has key revenue drivers that draw on demand, you can find success there. Okay, now step number 3, we're gonna be leveraging dynamic pricing. Now, one of the biggest levers I pulled was dynamic pricing for my listing. I used price labs and customized it for local events, NASCAR weekends, seasonality, summer and fall, or the peak season in the Finger Lakes, and weekend versus weekday pricing. There were also minimum night rules for holidays and during the summer and the fall. Most of my competitors, flat pricing and year round. No adjustments whatsoever. That's like leaving thousands on the table, especially in a very seasonal market. Now, with dynamic pricing, I was charging 2 to 3x more on high demand weekends and staying way more competitive during the slower months, even during winter when most of the listings sat empty. I use the hot tub and in a cozy interior vibe, like the theater room, to drive more bookings that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Occupancy stayed solid even in the off season. That's the power of data. Step number 4, operational efficiency. I didn't want to build a job. I wanted a system. So I set everything up from day one. Hospitable for automated messaging. I hired a professional cleaning team with an on-call handyman. I used smart locks and security cameras and a digital guidebook. Everything was remote ready. I didn't have to live nearby and it ran like a machine. And because guests were staying in a well-designed, well-priced, and well-communicated property, reviews were fire, right? I was able to hit and stay at a 5-star rating for something. Step number 5, year-over-year growth. So let's talk actual results and numbers of what happened. So in year 1, I actually didn't net $70,000. I only netted around 42. And that was just with a few upgrades. In year 2, I added more amenities and my net jumped to $55,000. Year 3, I added a small theater room in the basement with a projector sound system that pushed the net revenue to over $70,000. That's net after expenses like my mortgage, cleaning, utilities, insurance, everything. That's a 20% net return on a $350K property in 2025 in a market no one's really talking about. But I think it's important to remember that revenue can grow over time. Notice how I didn't make $70K net in the first year or even the second year. I had to learn the market to better optimize my pricing and know what amenities could maximize revenue. So let's recap the lessons you can take away from my deal. Let's break down what you can copy from this playbook. So number 1, data is better than hype. Don't buy where everyone else is buying. Use tools and software like STR Insights to find real opportunities using data. Number 2, look for gaps in the market. No hot tubs? Add one. Bad design? Invest in it. No dynamic pricing? That's your edge. And guess what? That works in almost every market. Number 3, lean into amenities that matter. You don't need to add a cold plunge, spa room, a rooftop deck. You just need 1 or 2 standout features or amenities your guests actually want. Create or add amenities that will bring an experience with memories to your guests. Number 4, systematize everything. Don't build yourself another job. Use tools and automate. Outsource where it makes sense. And finally, number 5, think long-term. I didn't try to get rich off this one in 6 months. I optimized, reinvested, and played the long game. That's where I turned 42K net profit into 70K a year just by making the right additions and changing over time. Here are my final thoughts. I share this property and this deal not to brag and to flaunt, but to show you what's still possible in the market today. When you focus on execution over ego. Now, you don't need to buy $1 million cabin to make this work. You need data-backed markets, a solid property, and a couple standout features, and the discipline to operate it well. So there are still properties out there that can pull 50, 60, even 70K plus net per year. You just have to stop following the crowd and start trusting the numbers. Okay, if you've gotten value from this, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and drop a comment if you have questions. And of course, subscribe for more breakdowns like this. And I will see you on the next one.